Welcome to another episode of Mental Wellness Insights. We are continuing with the series on suicide, and we have Pastor Dennis with us. If you haven't watched the previous episode, please do so. And we invite you to subscribe and share. Click on the notification bell. For those who have not been with us, I would request Pastor Dennis to introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Maduguda, and I'm a preacher, a counselor, and we thank God. We've been on a journey, and this is another episode when we are dealing with the subject of suicide.
Yes, and today we are tackling the causes of suicide. By no means can we claim to be complete, but we are going to tackle as much as we can. Stay tuned with us, and we invite you to comment below if you have anything to say about the subject. Causes of suicide, Pastor Dennis.
Yes.
What are some of the causes, the possible causes of suicide?
And that's good. Of interest, when we did the last episode, there has been a lot of reaction of people online and people wanting to talk and share their own stories, either of themselves having attempted suicide or having lost a loved one to suicide.
Yes, and we thank God for this because the purpose of this is to open up space.
Good.
Because suicide is a subject that people are still not free to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But if from experience people are coming up to speak, we believe we are going to achieve the purpose.
Very true.
So what are some of the causes?
And when we're looking at the causes of suicide, there is not just like one cause of suicide.
Yeah.
Often when you hear that somebody has committed suicide, the first thing people be saying is depression is real. That's what you keep on hearing. Somebody committed suicide, and people will be commenting online. They will be speaking and saying, depression is real.
Yeah. So
people generalize the cause of suicide to be depression, but that's not entirely true. And it's important for us to have some time to just look at these many causes of suicide, because what will drive somebody to an early grave may be a non-issue to somebody else.
Yeah.
What somebody could be struggling with to some other person, they have strength to handle it.
Yeah.
So we cannot just say that this is the only cause of suicide.
Yeah.
And it's important also to realize that when we say that suicide is a big problem, and we are throwing in statistics, like over 700,000 people dying every year of suicide, it may look like statistics just being thrown online. But look at it. If you went to a market and there was a madman dancing, you may laugh at a distance. But the moment you come close and realize the madman is your brother, it is no longer entertainment. That is where your laughing stops. So people can be looking and saying, people are just dying of suicide. Why don't they face life? Why don't they be tough? But when this thing comes home, when you have a brother, a cousin, a nephew, a parent, a spouse contemplating suicide or having actually gone the route of suicide, that's when you realize it is not far away.
It's not far away. And that's when you stop the blame game.
That is it.
And start wondering and start exploring what could have caused this.
And of the interview that you had with Pastor
Antoinette,
she came to realize how this thing was a monster after she lost
her son. Yes.
And she will begin advocacy and creating space to help other people when this thing finally comes home.
Yes.
So if this thing is not far away, it's so close, and everybody must get involved.
Yeah.
The pastor needs to get involved, the parent, the children, the shoe shiner, everybody, the teacher, everybody must get involved. And what you said, we are not just speaking about suicide for the sake of it.
No.
Neither are we speaking to encourage it.
No.
But perhaps that somebody, you could be going the route of feeling hopeless, helpless, worthless. And when you encounter such a material, you may detour and go back to the journey of life.
Yes, and you could be dealing with somebody who is showing these symptoms, and you ordinarily you would not attribute it to possible cause of suicide. But once you get this information, you'll be able to help somebody.
Sure.
Yeah.
So many times when you meet anybody who is appearing or expressing hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness, those three things, hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness, many a times that person is not far away from the thought or act of suicide.
Yeah.
When somebody feels very hopeless, feels very helpless, feels very worthless, that person is not far away from the root of suicide. Although what we are saying is that even if you find yourself there, where you are hopeless, helpless, and worthless, there is still room for help. You have a chance to reach out, talk to somebody, talk to a brother, talk to a pastor, talk to a counselor, talk to a colleague. Sometimes what looks so big to you may be manageable by somebody's intervention.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, that is good. So now we go straight to the causes.
Yeah.
I'll try to break it down into four, an umbrella of four, so that we look at social factors. Then we also look at health factors. Then we also look at historical factors. And finally, we look at spiritual factors.
Yeah, so we talk about social,
yes,
health, spiritual,
and historical. Because
good.
There are many, but we try to, for the sake of time, we'll try as much as possible to touch on many of them.
Yeah.
But we group them into social, health, historical, and spiritual factors. We begin with the social one.
Yeah.
Number one is a broken home. And that one is a big one. Because of the many cases of suicide you will hear people talk about. You will hear things like there was a divorce. You hear things like there was an absentee father.
My son died from suicide. He was 18 years old. His birthday was in November. He died December 20th, 2004. He had just turned 18. Yeah, and he had been going through a series of things in his life, and I guess things became too hard, so he just decided to end his life. It was a tragedy to my family. It was a shock to my family. It has taken me 20 years. It's been 20 years now to really come in agreement with what God has said about it and the assignment that I have to do. It's time to have the conversation. It's been time, but it's really time now to have the conversation.
I know. I'm very sorry about that tragedy. It's a real tragedy. Now, what were the issues that your son was going through that made him do this, that
Well,
drove him to do this?
hindsight is 2020 now, right? When he was going through the things he was going through, I was very unaware and very ignorant to what I was looking at, and just caught up into my own healing, into my own survival. And so raising my son back then, I'm a nurse. I worked really hard. We lived in a very not, I wouldn't say tough neighborhood, but it wasn't the richest of the richest neighborhood. I was a single mother. I had 3 children at the time, and my son was the oldest. He had a lot of responsibility because I was working. You know how sometimes we leave our oldest child to have a lot of responsibility. But I've come to find out that my son was hurting. He was hurting really badly because he had a hole in a space where his dad's supposed to be. My son really, really, he was one of those sons that just really desired to have a relationship with his father. His father rejected him several times. And so that was an issue, but I didn't know it was an issue then. And then at the same time, I was going through my own things in my own life, trying to figure things out and being a single mom and all the things that comes with that. I didn't have the knowledge then to look back and see that my children were okay. I just was trying to make sure that I was okay.
In countries and societies where divorce is very high, you'll also realize that suicide is also
equally high.
very high. And there's a generational problem now because of the discordancy in relationships.
Yeah. I think I would mention that even in the Africa setup, suicide rate is getting higher and higher because we are moving away from the communities that have set up, where people were, everybody was concerned and everybody was a parent to somebody, and everybody was allowed to speak to somebody's child or to discipline somebody's child or to advise. These days we are getting to each man for himself and God for himself. Yeah.
And even at home, we don't have dinner time together.
No.
The days are gone where we could sit down together and watch a television program together, laugh together, exchange energies and emotions together. Today we are trapped on our smartphones. Today, every child and every parent is trapped on a gadget. I am on my laptop, you are on your phone, you are on your tablet. And although we may look as if we are together, but we have been torn apart by technology. And if we are going really to heal our families, we have to make family time.
We have to make family time, And if you have to know, to discover somebody's emotional space, you've got to be able to interact with person on one-on-one.
True.
But if everybody's on their phone and you ask a question and somebody responds well, how are you going to know the emotional space of this person?
Good. So a broken home is one of those triggers, one of those causes of many people ending up disoriented and trying the route of suicide. Number two, we have relationship problems. Let me give you an example. One time I was called along Thika Road, a place called Kahawa Wendani. And we were called into this house where a lady, a master's student, had just committed suicide because they had broken up with a lover and she could not handle it. This is a graduate pursuing a master's program, and she had actually finalizing a few things. Then they found her dead in the room, and the reason as to why she took her life is that the man they had been together for around 4 years had just dumped her. So you find, especially for young people, they're getting into romantic relationships and things don't work out. Maybe the man walks out or the girl walks out and they seem not being able to handle the breakup. So you realize many of the teenagers, some of them will just be a girlfriend walked away, a boyfriend walked away, and they will go get poison to take their life.
Mm-hmm. And if you dig deeper, such emotional vulnerability could still be attributed to the home setup.
Yes.
What we had just been discussing. Yeah.
You realize that if this person was never affirmed at home, if this girl was never told you are loved, if daddy never told the girl that I love you, when she goes out of the home and finds this man who then tells her I love you, and why it's just life has gone to the moon, then for 1 year,
then the love disappears.
The love disappears.
Your life also disappears.
Life disappears with that.
Yeah.
You see?
So again, the foundation of a proper human being is the home.
The home.
Yeah.
The home is the best school. The home is the best clinic. The home is the best church. It is the foundation of all this.
Yeah, and you mentioned something important. Again, I'll go back to the African side. What, like, I love you, do not happen. You do not affirm your children, you do not tell them I love you. They go out there and fight I love you, and fall into the first I love you.
Yes. So if that space of love they're introduced to becomes toxic, then this person's life is disoriented.
Yes.
Because they needed to go into this love space with an understanding that I'm already loved.
Yeah.
I am valued.
Yes.
I have value and worth even without somebody else.
And that again brings us to the love of God.
Good.
If from the beginning I do not understand the love of God, my relationship with God, then I will go yearning, thirsting for love that is here today and not there tomorrow.
Very true.
Yeah.
So the issue of relationships, it majorly affects young people, but again, love and relationships are not only for young people.
Yeah.
Even people going into their 30s, 40s, 50s could still be heavily affected when love goes south. And another cause is prolonged stress.
Yeah.
Prolonged stress, this resulting from unemployment. There's a case of a man who threw himself into a moving vehicle along Mombasa Road. And the reason as to why he threw himself, he was found with a suicide note in his pocket. And he said he's a graduate. He's been looking for jobs. He's really tarmacked for a long time. He's not getting anything. So he can't pay his bills. The family is expecting him to become something. He's not becoming that thing. So he struggled and decides, no, let me throw myself into a moving truck. So when there is prolonged stress resulting from maybe unemployment, low income, you're doing 3-4 jobs, still you're not able to meet your bills. This could also go to discrimination and bullying, harassment.
Yeah.
You have kids going to school and they're bullied for a long time, they're discriminated, so they end up accumulating stress. And that is good also for us to watch over our loved ones. Look at your kid. Is this kid coming home stressed? Does this kid look, the behavior has changed? Could you please talk to the kid, ask how was school?
And as you speak about unemployment, think about the retired also. I've been working for nearly all my life. Then suddenly I have nowhere to go. And probably the pension is either not coming or there, but not enough. But even if the pension is there, I do not have anywhere to go. I become lonely because again, out of the workspace, friends also become scarce.
Very true.
And so you feel hopeless. You feel empty. I'm waking up to go where? That could be another reason.
In fact, for the elderly, our African society, we are quickly going that direction.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Western society, it is more pronounced. Because the elderly, you find one man can raise 5 children. But now when this person grows old, the 5 children cannot take care of that one parent. You have one person raising 5 kids, and the person is mature, is now elderly, is into 70s, and the 5 children cannot take care of the one. So they will prefer send the father or the mother into a care home facility where they'll be taken care of there, and the person is looking for family.
Yeah.
He's looking for people around to talk to him.
Looking for true love.
Yes, not just food and dressing.
Yeah.
He wants family, he wants love. And the person probably does not have enough pension. The person probably has a sickness they need to be attended to. And all these things compounded could easily draw somebody, the elderly, into also committing suicide.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a problem with the elderly neglect. Neglect. And even today, in our African setup, when I was growing up, there is a man, he was 74 if I can remember, who hanged himself. And the reason was he's been abandoned. The children went to town. So he would go without food, he would go struggling. So, and he decided to hang himself. And the problem is, actually, he hanged himself in the house of one of the sons. So the son is in Nairobi, the wife is in the village, and because he's struggling, he's not having his needs met, he feels neglected. He took a rope, went into the house of the son, and hanged himself.
Yeah. The other issue that you mentioned, which is very prominent, is bullying.
Yes.
And bullying as a result probably of racial differences.
Good.
Tribal differences.
Yes.
It contributes a lot to somebody giving up in life.
Very true.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with teenagers and the young ones.
Yeah.
You know, these young people are trying to discover themselves. These young people, they are trying to understand life. Then when they are battered by things like hate, rejection, harassment, many of them may not be able to process it, especially if they don't have close people who help them interpret whatever is happening and probably build them up through that trial they're going through.